Squire Ansila the Goth into the Order of the Chivalry.
Confirm your candidate voice. Their Majesties summon Ansila the Goth before them. Knights and Masters of Arms of the Society, present yourselves before their Majesties.
Good order. Is it your wish that Ansila the Goth be numbered among you?
Aye.
Ansila, is it your wish to become a member of this order? Duchess Mary, will you speak as a royal peer?
I will. I am speaking as a rose today at the request of Ansila. And the roses have a very special role within the society as an inspiration. And we're often asked to look about us and find chivalry and find prowess and to point it out to the world and to encourage it. And this is something that Ansila does in his own home group. But I'd like to say that a couple years ago, there was a little misunderstanding about who he was, because I said, who are you talking about, to one of the kids? And he says, well, that knight over there. I said, well, which knight over there? He's like, the one with no hair. I'm like, well, that one's not a knight. And they're like, no, he really is. He's absolutely a knight. And I said, well, we might just have to wait a year or so on that. So when I see chivalry, I recognize it. But when children see chivalry, it should be obvious to all. So you are my peer.
Thank you, Your Grace. Count Ivar, will you also speak as a royal peer?
It's my honor.
Good people of North Shield, I am Jarl Ivar the Black of the Kingdom of Avacal. Old habits. I would like to thank you on behalf of my traveling companions for the wonder and generosity you have shown us. It is always worth the journey for us. If the measure of a man's wealth can be taken by the quality of his comrades, then I am a rich man. I am richer still for the ability to call Ansila my friend. I've known Ansila for many years, and I could stand here before you, and it would be an easy thing for me to tell you of his many knightly virtues. I could drone on about prowess and about honor and about courage, but you know this man. Your Majesties, you know the quality of the man before you. He would not be kneeling here if you did not. Instead, rather than talk about all of his knightly virtues, I would like to focus on one in which I've always admired in him, and that is his virtue of generosity. As you likely know, Ansila is a man who gives what he has if the giving would enrich your day. And giving of estate is certainly a noble and true thing, but I'm also speaking of his generosity of time, his generosity of enthusiasm, his sharing of knowledge. It is these things that bind kingdoms, that build communities. These things, this generosity, this all-encompassing generosity, is knightly. And this all-encompassing generosity is Ansila. My friend, you are well regarded outside this kingdom. You are well loved in my kingdom as well. Your Majesties, it is my pleasure to bring this man forward to you and tell you that he is well regarded. He has done your kingdom proud. I am proud to call you my friend, and I am deeply proud to call you my brother. Thank you, my friend, for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Master Tariq, will you speak as a member of the Order of the Laurel?
Yes, Your Majesties, you may address your court.
By all means.
I stand before you burdened with glorious purpose to speak for Ansila the Goth. I'm a companion of the Order of the Laurel, and I can talk about the scrolls he's done, the shoes he's made, the different projects he's completed, but Crown and Kingdom don't need me to point that out. You need but look. He has artistic prowess. He does service. He's a fair man with a sword. And these are the least of his qualities. He lifts the people around him up with his enthusiasm. And he's the man he is today, not because of the path he's taken, but because he was always this man. And Smana saw that. Your Majesties.
Thank you, Master Free. Master Hamish, will you speak as a companion of the Order of the Pelicans?
Yes, Your Majesties. I've known Ansila a very long time, but only in passing. It's only in the last few years that he and I have gotten to know each other fairly well. We work together as two of the highest marshals in your kingdom. And Ansila's works are well known. He has been a marshal. He has helped his local group. He's helped with the online auction. All of these things create a body of work, which is important to Pelicans. But one of the most important things that we talk about as Pelicans is how we serve and how we stand above. And what I mean by that is that it is very difficult to hold a kingdom office and not suffer the slings and arrows of people. Because no matter what you do, you will always make someone unhappy. That is just a simple fact of holding an office in the SCA. There were several times when Ansila was personally attacked. Not his position, not a ruling he had made, but his character. He did not respond in kind. He rose above. He stood above. When I say that I consider Ansila a friend, that means a lot to me. In addition to that, there's a big part of myself that I have a huge ego. And it's well known to your Majesties. So when I say that this man is more than my equal, that right there should be the highest commendation I can give to anyone as a peer. Thank you, your Majesties.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Magnifico Piero, would you speak as a member of the Order of Defense?
Your Majesty. First question, does anyone know what Spretzner is? I gotta switch this up. There have been many people talking about all of the amazing gifts and skills that Ansila has, and some of you may have only known him the past few years. I've known him since he was just a kid. In our basement, trying to figure out how to make his first set of armor. It was the ugliest thing under God's known world. But it got him out of the field and his excitement was there. And I saw him as he's grown and as he's challenged himself to keep bringing that energy to other people. His skills, his gifts, everyone's already spoken to. And I thought, what do I got left, right? That companionship. As a member of my order, we look towards what is a courtier? Who is somebody who presents himself as open and receiving of other people? We're willing to go out, find those people and help them get better. A leader isn't somebody who stands in front of you and says, let's do this. There's somebody who stands in front of you and says, how can you get there? And how can I help? Got to watch Ansila over the years face a lot of challenges on and off the field. And we've been able to travel together with a lot of that as well. And in some of my darkest times and challenges over the years, over all of those years that we know each other, he's always been a friend. He's always been somebody who lifts me up and helps me keep going. So with all of that, that comportment becomes one of the biggest things I can ever say. That no matter how hard something is that you're facing, he will help you find that way. It is my honor and privilege to recommend him to your work.
Thank you. Baroness Eleanor, will you speak as a member of the populace?
She has lost her voice, Your Majesty. However, she will do interpretive sign language as I read her words. She's over there. I am very happy and honored to be asked to speak on behalf of Ansila. I have known him for over 10 years, and he is generous, kind, welcoming, and funny. We have worked together on many projects, large like the auction, and small like planning lunch. He has brought his incredible sense of humor and fun to everything he does. His enthusiasm and love for the kingdom shows through in everything he does. Ansila has been one of the best people I know for as long as I have known him. I am thrilled that he is being recognized. He will be a wonderful knight.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And Your Excellency.
Ansila, right mindful of your prowess on the field and responsive to the wishes of your peers, we are minded to make you a knight. Know that to wear the belt and chain of knight is to hold a sacred trust that
the obligations of
knighthood will demand your efforts every moment of your life.
A knight must seek excellence in all endeavors, martial and otherwise, seeking strength to be used in the service of justice, not for their own good, but for the good of all. A knight must recognize that the sword of justice can be a terrible thing, so humanity and mercy must temper it. A knight must remain loyal to the people and the ideals he chooses to live by. A knight must love his kingdom and fulfill most faithfully his feudal duties. A knight must have the courage to sacrifice for the precepts and people he values. A knight must have faith in their beliefs, while never diminishing the beliefs of another. A knight values the contributions of others, according them the renown rightfully earned. A knight must be generous, countering the natural tendency toward gluttony.
A knight recognizes that the true nobility arises from the journey, not the destination.
Seek to emulate all of this as sincerely as possible, not for personal gain, but because it is right. Do not restrict your exploration to a small world, but seek to infuse every aspect of your life with these qualities. Should you succeed in even a tiny measure, then you will be well remembered for your quality and virtue. Knowing all this, you still desire to accept elevation into the sword. I do. Then let all and sundry hear our will in full.
Ansila the Goth, Order of Chivalry, King Vladimir, Queen Petronella, this day, Nordskogen 12th Night, AS 53.
There's a chair over there. Now swear fealty to the crown of North Shield.
I here swear fealty and do homage to the crown of North Shield, to ever be a good knight and true, reverent and generous. Shield of the weak, almost in battle. Obedient to my liege lord and lady. Courteous at all times, champion of the right and good. Thus swear I, Ansila the Goth.
We accept your gifts of fealty and homage, and will rely on you to advise us wisely, as you light the way for North Shield with honor and charity. We will act towards you respectively in all things, protecting you with our aid and rewarding you with our love. But may all strength fail and the world turn against any who break this solemn oath.
Is there a belt?
There is, Your Majesties. The knight's belt is white to represent purity. Wear this belt and let it be a constant reminder of you to always be seeking to emulate that purity in yourself.
Is there a sword with which you will offer service to your crown?
There is, Your Majesty. This is the weapon of the knight. One edge to cut through the truth, the other the king's justice, and the sheath to counsel mercy.
Are there spurs?
There are, Your Majesty. The spurs are a symbol of a knight's martial prowess. Wear these spurs proudly upon the field of the battle as you defend the people of the kingdom and dispense the crown's justice.
Is there a chain with which to bind him in his oath of fealty?
Probably so. Present you with the legacy chain of Nordskogen. First carried by Gunther, Hagen, Dumal, Halloran, Roder. Niklos carried it. Rashid, Wolfgar, Stephen, Ingvar, Torsten, Alexander, Vlad, Murdoch, Katsuo, Edwin, Tormasa, Zeta, Jean, Armand, Peter, Ajax, James, Johns, Theodore, Harriel, Godfrey, Brehan, Togashi, Hanman, Teo, Malraki, Hans, and myself.
This chain is made in groups of 6 to represent your wife and the 5 children who inspire you so well.
And last, this is my own chain that has served to remind me well. The candidate has been invested with the trappings of the office of knighthood. In remembrance of oaths received, given and received. In remembrance of your lineage and obligation, be thou a good knight and true. Okay, bear this blow as the last received by the last blow unanswered before you enter your battle, or before you enter our order. Rise, Sir Ansila. Your shield as presented.
Russ tells the story.
With me, I just repeated words.